Jamal Thomas. Guys, I want to talk about Sam Ronan. Um, I like this kid. Granted, he's not going to win, um, but I like him. I was watching an interview with him, and I've seen a few of his interviews, but specifically, I want to talk about the one with Jordan Chariton. So let's take a look at it first.
Or if it's just these people are ignorant. Do you find that, do the leaders that are running for this, you can't get in their head, but even the DNC members that go to this, is there an acknowledgement that that's the problem, or they're completely clueless?
So, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. They are either clueless or they are just burying their head in the sand. I think that's the best phrase to put it. And you're right, I am the only one that's talking about it. And it's actually a little frustrating because during the past couple of debates, I have been able to drive the narrative to at least get to the grassroots level, to like the actual county level, to make sure the people who are running are getting the funds and the support, right? But they still won't admit that the money is the issue, that we need to get rid of it, that there's already examples where grassroots funding and organizing is working and that it is working better than or equal to what's already happening with the big money. I mean, one of the biggest comparisons I saw was between Bernie and Hillary. 76% of Bernie's fundraiser came from small dollar donations, and the exact opposite was with Hillary Clinton. So the numbers don't lie. We can unequivocally fundraise and support our own Democratic Party, and yet nobody wants to admit it. Why? Because the ones who are in power, the ones who are being bought and sold and traded to the highest bidder, don't want to give up their gravy train. And I alluded to this in CNN too. The reason why I got involved in this nonsense is because our leaders are spineless cowards. They are allowing themselves to get sold out. And to me, it's galling. It is absolutely galling. But until we either break through or take it over from the outside, it's not going to change. And I've been trying to do it from the inside, but we'll see how that happens.
So I want to get your thoughts because I've written about this, but it's not really talked about. To me, this whole resistance against Trump.
Right.
I think it's great that there's protests in terms of the refugee ban, the immigration, all this stuff. You don't have to be a Bernie supporter or Hillary supporter. Everybody should come together for that, no doubt about it. But it seems to me that, if they're doing what they did during the campaign, like the DNC leadership, the Democrats, every other email I get from the DNC is on Russia, and Trump is the boogeyman. Almost like if we make Trump so unpalatable, if we make him so bad, they'll just have to turn to us in 4 years. Just like Clinton's campaign did during the campaign. If we just make him so unpalatable, yeah, they hate her, but they'll vote for her. It seems like this whole resistance thing is just assuming that Trump will be so unpalatable that we'll easily we'll pick up seats in 2018 and then win the White House back with probably a shill like Cory Booker. Do you think that? Because to me, it's going to backfire. To me,
oh yeah, absolutely.
You can't just focus on Donald Trump without putting forward policies that strike and connect with the people you just lost, like blue-collar people, millennials. What do you think about that?
No, I mean, you may as well be on the same forum because apparently we're speaking the same lingo here, and that's exactly why I brought it up. The best way that I was able to phrase it was referring to the FDR administration and the New Deal. It's not enough to have an enemy because that's just fear-mongering. That's what the Republicans do, and they do it much, much better than we ever will. And as you just said, it doesn't push voters towards us, it pushes them even further away because if we don't offer anything better, then they're not going to do it. So what I tried to do was invoke that emphasis on where we once were as this great Democratic Party, the birth of the middle class, etc., with the New Deal. And so I talked about a New Deal, something that we can fight for, work together, and build towards. And I know it sounds very metaphorical, but in a sense it is, but it's also the answer. If people don't have something that they can get behind, that they can't invest in themselves, that they can't trust, and actually have a hand in addressing, fixing, and implementing, they're not going to participate. And that's across party lines. People are disgusted in general. People have left both parties in droves. The independent movement is the largest voting bloc in the country right now. It surpasses both Democrats and the Republican Party combined. So clearly there's this disconnect, and it's going to have to take something that we can all relate to. water, our environment, clean energy initiatives, making healthcare more affordable, education more affordable, making our taxes, what was the word I want to look for? Our tax burden less, have a greater voice in economics, as in we get to collaborate and be collective with our bargaining at a genuine fundamental level, and not only have to rely on unions, that we fundamentally change it so that businesses adhere to us. We are the reason why they profit. Without CEOs, CFOs, and all this BS, we'd still be fine. But without the workers, without the 99%, without you, me, and everybody else who might be watching, there's nothing. And that's the message I've been trying to deliver. And you're absolutely right. They are simply not getting it. And if they continue to focus on making Trump the enemy, but not offering any solution to fix it, the party's going to fall.
That's strong. That is really strong. I like it. I like it. That is absolutely strong. The only point that I can even pick with it is that he didn't go far enough. Like, because he's right. He's right. He's like, look, you need to do policies that people actually like. And you can't necessarily just demonize the guy. You're demonizing the guy who's actually talking about jobs and policies, regardless of whether or not he's going to do them. Of course he's not. But he's talking about it. You're just talking about him. He's a good point. Yeah, dude, go further. Go further. Like, I guess what I'm saying is, he's right. We're the ones who essentially are doing the work. We're the ones who are running it. All right, take the next step. If we're doing all the work, then do all the work. Push worker co-ops. Push worker co-ops. I mean, again, I keep making the point. Go after the problem. Go after the problem. Go after the problem. Go after the problem. I like him. I like him a lot. Again, he's not going to win, but I do like him. And it's funny, as I watched it, I kind of had this feeling like, yeah, my critique before was right. He is young and everything else, but, there's a great difference between somebody who, I guess the question is there an advantage in not fully being ossified within the boundaries of what other people believe is possible? So let's say whoever takes that spot, let's say it's not him, and it's not going to be him, but let's say it's not him. Those people have been in this business for a long time. They have a very fixed idea on what those particular positions are. I mean, what I mean is the boundaries of the party, or the boundaries of what can be done in the office, the committee chair. He has no such restrictions. That is not a weakness. Believe it or not, that is not a weakness. I mean, not acknowledging the limits of your particular power. For the most part, power is taken. And I don't necessarily know everything that he can do in that particular office, but at the very least, he is damn sure motivated. And when somebody's motivated, they come up with clever and creative ways to get the things they want. Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. Look, I don't know who it's going to be. It's either going to be Perez or Ellison. And I've kind of made this point before. I'm not all that particularly happy with either one. I feel like, and this is kind of why I guess I'm on this kick of, don't vote for any of them. I don't care who it is. As a progressive, why are you rewarding them with your vote? Think about what's happening over the past 20 years. Think about how the party has shifted to the right. Think about to the point where you're stuck in this unenviable position of feeling like you need to vote for Hillary Clinton to keep another monster from taking that seat. Don't support it. Stop being, codependents into this horrible situation. I guess what I'm saying is, I feel like they're continuously lying. And because I feel like they're continuously lying, I want nothing to do with them. Ronan, at the very least, looks at the situation and say, yeah, these guys are lying. That's not what took place during the primaries, and you guys need to address what took place in the primaries. Well, of course they don't want to have that conversation. But again, he's not wed to party like that. They are. That's the difference. Also, I think he gets that they want to keep their gravy train, but it goes further than that. It's not just they want to keep their gravy train. Because you have to ask the question, why wouldn't Democrats do things to get themselves elected? Like, what's, you know what I mean? Like, why would you take positions, or why would you take actions, behaviors that keep you from getting elected? Clearly, if they were being objective, you could have gotten elected if you were going the more populist route. They did not want to go that route. That adversely affected their donors. That's what it boils down to. It is, to some degree, about a gravy train. That gravy train is, to some degree, more important than whether or not they win those elections. This is a duopoly. Stop looking at these people, these parties, as being, two different things. They're not. They are the same thing. They're codependent duopolies. You give them your vote. They're allowed to divide you using identity and all sorts of stuff. And based upon the division in the society that stuff creates, they can play one against the other. There is no way, it is impossible for somebody to get $1 billion in the bank with somebody else laying on the street if the population itself says no. If the population is squabbling among themselves about stupid stuff, then yes, that guy can go all the way to the bank. The point I'm getting at is, these parties, for the most part, yes, there may be minor differences between those two things, but the differences is in the sense of, this is the bear, to make you a little okay with dealing with a kangaroo or something. I guess my thought is, it's a goblin argument. It's like, yes, this particular goblin is big, and so you will be okay with a smaller goblin. Just from an intellectual point of view, you would say, well, 4 is less than 5, so okay, I'll take the lesser. It's a scam. It's a trick. They're the same. And ultimately, you end up in the same place. I like Sam Ronan. I like him a lot. I hope that kid sticks around. I don't know what he's going to do after this, but we should definitely keep an eye out for him. Thanks, guys.